Welcome to Wealth, Wellness, and Womanhood. I'm Cynthia Hammonds, dentist, investor, entrepreneur, and now the host of your favorite new podcast. This show is for ambitious women just like yourself who are building extraordinary lives but don't want to settle or lose themselves in the process. Here, we are going to have real, honest conversations about building wealth, nurturing your wellness, and having a purpose-filled life. Hi, welcome to Wealth, Wellness, and Womanhood. I can't believe I'm actually doing this. This is actually kind of crazy. I had an idea to do a podcast years ago. I'm talking maybe 2019 when I was still in dental school, but I don't know if I was just too afraid of being perceived or whatever the case may be, but I didn't do it. And then last summer, I was in Europe, and on the flight back home, I just started writing out all of the thoughts that I had and who I wanted this podcast to be for and what I wanted this podcast to be about. And then it was born, and I'm so excited to finally hit record. Funny story, this is actually not the first episode that I have recorded, even though this is my introductory episode. I've recorded maybe 5 episodes. I don't know why, just from the way that my brain operates, it's easy for me to start from the middle and then kind of work my way out towards the beginning and the end. I don't know, maybe the pressure of wanting it to be perfect. I want to get myself comfortable so that by the time I'm introducing myself, it feels more organic. But I figured that now's a better time than ever to get on here and pull back the curtain and introduce the girl behind the mic and give you a backstory of who I am and why I think you should listen to this podcast. So if you've made it this far, and by this far, meaning the first episode, I really do appreciate it. And I hope that you leave here with something today and you come back. So a little bit of backstory about me. I wear a lot of hats. I do a lot of things. And so for the few people who do know me and are probably just curious, thinking to themselves, what is this girl up to next? I am a dentist. I co-own a dental practice in the DFW area, which I love. I have an amazing business partner. I have amazing patients, an amazing team, and I really love what I do. I love the patients that I serve. But I'm also a very ambitious person, and I needed more than just my 9 to 5, which I'm sure a lot of you can relate. And that's who this podcast is really for. The girls who are just like me, who work a 9 to 5, but want more for themselves. And I'm also very, very creative. About a year and a half ago, I started my jewelry brand called Amaritalis. It was my little idea turned passion project turned full on business. And we've been in business for over a year, and it's been great. It's been a lot, but it's that creative outlet that I really needed at a time when dentistry wasn't being so kind to me. And we'll get into all the nitty gritty and all the tea and all the stuff. But first, I just want to lay the groundwork of who I am and why we're here. I'm also a real estate investor. I invest in real estate with my husband, who is amazing. And he is so supportive and is the reason that I think I can do all the things. And he's probably my biggest cheerleader. And yeah, so I grew up as a high achiever. I am the first child to Nigerian immigrants. So for any of my first daughters, you know the struggle. My parents are Igbo Nigerians who came to this country with nothing and worked really hard to build something that their kids could launch off of. And I'm super thankful to them. And they taught me a lot about what hard work looks like and what sacrifice looks like for the dreams that you want, the dreams that you know are burning on the inside of you. And they put a lot of pressure on me to be successful. And the funny thing is, as I've gotten older, success looks so different from what it looked like when I was younger. And to me now, success looks like building a purpose-filled life, one that you feel called to without settling or completely burning out. And to be completely honest, I didn't have a lot of tools as to what that looked like. It was either I was the most ambitious person in the room, or you're talking to people who have $1 million exits on their businesses and can't really think back to when they were in my shoes. And I feel like there was a huge gap in podcasts and resources and interviews of people not really talking about the earlier stages and what it really looks like to work hard, build a business, especially as a woman in today's day and age. But you want a family, you want to have a life, you want to have friends, you want to be able to be involved in your community. And now we're talking more and more about what does it look like to have it all. And I don't know who said it the first time. I think it may have been Emma Grede, the great Emma Grede. I love her. She's like my Oprah. Emma Grede said, "You can have it all, but you can't have it all at the same time." And that was so mind-blowing to me because it finally gave me the permission to look around and look at my life and have like a sigh of relief and be like, okay, I'm not expected to have the dream job and the dream salary and build the dream business and have multiple properties and be a size 2 and have the most amazing date nights every week and travel all over the place. I mean, wouldn't that be amazing to have all those things and still wake up from my workout classes and still do my quiet times, all the things? But the reality is that you can have it all. You just can't have it all at the same time. And that was super freeing for me. And so that's really the heart of this conversation that I want to cultivate, this connection that I want to form with you, the listeners, is I want us to talk open and honestly about our hopes, our dreams, our ambitions, and our goals and how we plan to achieve those, but then also be honest and real about the struggles to get those goals and the sacrifices that it takes to get those goals, and how we can not settle and how we can still preserve our mental, spiritual, physical, emotional well-being in the process. Because we're girls with big dreams, y'all. We got big dreams. And we know we're called to something more than just getting up, going to work, coming home, scrolling on TikTok, and then repeating the process all over again. So if I haven't said it before, I'm so excited that you're here. And I want to tell you a little bit more about what you can expect in the following episodes. So we're going to start off every episode with an excerpt from my 5-minute journal. I've journaled for years, and at some point in my life, I kind of got overwhelmed by journaling with everything. I felt like I had to do it in this perfect way. I almost wrote my journal like someone was reading it. And I think it started off with good intentions of, okay, I'm going to write this journal for my future daughter so that she could have an understanding of what my life was like. And then that kind of morphed into wanting it to be like this perfect cookie cutter where it's like I talk about my problems, but then I'm also like, but thank you, God. Like, thank God that I'm still alive and still have purpose. And then I remember at one point when I had reached a really, really low point in my life, this was around 2020, 2021. And I had this one journal that is just filled with not the nicest of words, but me just being honest and being like, God, like, I'm so pissed. I'm so fed up with what my life looks like. And that was the most honest journal. And I still have it. And I still look at it from time to time. And so anyway, that whole ramble just to say, I've kind of changed my approach to journaling because I've recognized that as you evolve, your practices have to evolve to keep up with you. And so I have like a 5-minute journal that has no more than 4 or 5 prompts. And there are some key ones that I took away from it that I want to start every episode with. The first one being a daily affirmation. So that could either be like a Bible verse or a word that I heard or just some type of affirmation that I want to meditate on in the week to come. And then the next one is, what am I looking forward to this week? And then the next one would be, what am I leaving behind from the week before? And I want this to tie into what the next topic is. And this is for really when we're doing solos, but even when we're having guests on, I want the topics of conversation to appeal to the honest conversations that we're having or not having with ourselves, with our friends, with our mentors, with our therapists, with our significant others. I want them to be the real honest conversations about what it looks like to be an ambitious and modern woman in today's day and age who is just out here trying to achieve her goals. Like I said, I want to bring on guests who have expertise or just interesting experiences and interesting stories that can pull back the layers of how they got their success, But I don't want it to just be them speaking at the level of that founder that exited their company at $200 million and has all the connections and all the resources to create a new business. No, I want to talk about the first couple of years, the struggles, how they started, what was the mindset shifts that they had to have, while still inspiring us and giving us something to look forward to. I also want them to kind of take us back to the what I would have done differently or mistakes that I've made or regrets, because I feel like that's really where the learning happens. At least for me, I have found that the most fruitful, the most encouraging conversations I've had with people have been when they have been open and honest and shared their mistakes and shared their shortcomings. And I'm so grateful to those people, because it's such a vulnerable thing to do, to share your mistakes. And that's what I want to do on this podcast. You know, in the intro, I say that this is for ambitious women, but really it's for younger Cynthia, who had just graduated from dental school and didn't know what was going on and felt really lost and overwhelmed by 6 figures of student loan debt, no real job prospects, had to move back in with my parents in Dallas and kind of just figure things out. That's who I'm really making this podcast for. And I want this to be a resource, something that you can look back to. And by the end of the conversation, I want to answer listener questions, and I'll reach out via Instagram story or comments or Substack to get questions. And I also invite you to email me. My email is hellocynthiahammonds@gmail.com. I might come up with a better email with a domain name. You know, we're still building here, okay? But I want you to just send me an email, shoot me out an email about your questions or things that you want me to answer or things that you want me to talk about. I know that this is a podcast and I'm the one that's on the mic, but I want this to be a two-way conversation. I want this to be where you're talking back to me and telling me what you want to hear and what you like and what you don't like. And I want to hear all the feedback. So please reach out to me in the DMs, in the comments. I am at Cyn_Hammonds. That's at CYN_HAMMONDS on Instagram, on YouTube, on TikTok, all the things. So we'll answer those user questions, and then we're going to finish off with me giving you a journal prompt that I want you to really think about and meditate on until we meet again. And I want you to share your responses in the comments and in Substack and all the things. And I want people to respond. And I really want this to become a community of support for women just like ourselves. And so I'm really excited for that. And I just want to make it clear that I'm not coming from a pedestal if that isn't already obvious. I am doing this alongside you. I'm building my businesses. I'm trying to be a good wife and a good friend and a good sister and a good daughter and a good all the things. And I am looking for those resources too. I'm looking for that support too as well. And I want to share how far I've come, and I want to share the mindset shifts that I've had, and I want to share the mistakes and the trials. But ultimately, I want you to see this as me building alongside of you and not just me talking at you from my high horse. I'm so excited for you to take this journey with me. And I really want this podcast to serve as a digital handbook that you can refer back to, that will inspire you to take down notes, to journal, to talk with your therapist, to talk with your other ambitious friends, to help you on this journey towards building wealth and reinvesting into in your future while still maintaining your femininity and your wellness, your well-being. I want this to be a place where you feel permission to rest, but then to also grind and drive that sustains you and the way that helps you to build the extraordinary life that you know that you're called to have. More than anything, I want you to know that you don't have to choose between success and your well-being. You can have both, and you can have both at the same time. You may not be able to have everything, but you can have those two at the same time. So thank you so much again for being here. Like I said, please leave me a comment, reach out to me. I want to hear from you. I want to know what you want me to talk about. And once again, welcome to the community. Welcome to Wealth, Wellness, and Womanhood. Love always. Bye.